needs to find a correct continuation. At this moment, he needs to find a break for himself with c3 and then eventually b4, because if he doesn't get that, Black is going to pick off the pawns and just win this game without serious challenge from White.
I could not have phrased it better. He is running out of time, literally and figuratively. With 2 minutes on the clock, he has to find a source of counterplay, and he has to do it on the very next move. As you're saying, knight f7 could simply end the game if White starts crumbling at the seams on the king side. You cannot afford to lose both of these pawns unless you figure out a way to create some sort of cataclysmic counterplay on the other side of the board. I really feel that bishop f3 is mandatory for White. Let's see if Nodirbek comes up with it. As I'm talking, seconds, precious golden seconds, continue to evaporate off the tournament leader's clock. He is down to 2 minutes, Robert, and a move has still not been made.
Wow, he needs to make a move ASAP. Bishop f3 with the sacrifice on d5. I think that's a difficult move to play, but I don't see anything else. c3, as we mentioned, rook h2 check. That move is slammed on the board. The king is forced away from the protection of the pawn on c3. So for Nodirbek, if he's going to play c3, he needs to cover his second rank. Maybe there's an argument for bishop e2, but I think that you swap bishops very quickly, put your knight on f7, and Black is just first to the punch. You are winning the g5 pawn. You'll bring your knight back. You'll try to go after the e5 pawn. Oh no, this is really bad news for Abdusattorov. I feel for him. Honestly, I'm watching him. We're commenting on the game, and I don't root for anybody, but I'm sitting here being like, I just don't want to see him throw away tournament victory on the last day after the magnificent tournament he's had. It's just kind of heartbreaking.
It is. It is, no matter who you're rooting for, no matter where you are. And yes, Nodirbek has displayed composure and cold-bloodedness and well-roundedness in this tournament far beyond his years. Composure that is only acquired sometimes by age 40, as he slides the bishop back to e2. And I would not peg this if, in fact, he loses on a loss of composure. Jorden is just playing like a beast in this endgame. Now, Robert, bishop e2, what do you make of this? Is this another mistake? Can Jorden just take and go knight f7 here?
It's what he's going to do, but I wasn't expecting the evaluation part to drop this much. Black has to take on e2, because if you move your bishop away, then White goes bishop d3 and targets the g6 pawn. That is not what you want. You need to act quickly. You need to be precise. If you're Jorden, you swap bishops, and that is what he just has done. Nodirbek quickly, the former world rapid champion, he is showing off his speed chess skills. He quickly takes back, and now knight f7. Knight f7 goes right after g5, and Danya, I'm not seeing it here for Abdusattorov. I think his pawns are being picked off one by one.
They do, and I think the reason he traded bishops is indeed, I sound like a broken record, but I don't see a single other source of counterplay. I think he is going to play c3, and that is going to be his 40th move. The problem is that after the pawns are swapped, he still hasn't created a passed pawn. He wants to play b4, but the problem is that that king on c3 is a sitting duck, and it can be targeted by a well-timed rook check on h3. That rook, it's been on h4, it's been all over the H file. It's back to home base right now, and it could make one more sally to H3 in order to knock the king off of C3, delaying b4 by a couple more moves. And Jorden will obviously take those moves to eliminate both of those pawns. There's no question now that Jordan's position is objectively winning. Whether it's completely winning, that can be debated. But once he makes move 40, Robert, those 50 minutes could not arrive at a better time for Jorden van Foreest, because he can make sure with every move that he is eliminating Nodirbek's counterplay, that he is double-checking all of his options. And Jorden, he needs these 50 minutes a lot more than Nodirbek does at this point, and he will get them.
Yeah, because the position is objectively, it looks like, teetering on the edge of a win for Black. So with extra time, Jorden can calculate. And we want to remind everybody that Jorden did falter a day ago against Anish Giri, but that's a very different type of position. It was sharp. There were tactics everywhere, checkmating threats for both sides. And then we got to an end game that ended up being level. So this is a very different type of position. We see the knight about to hop over to f7. Jorden, he is not making the move just yet, but he knows that he has the advantage as he looks over at his clock. He has just 4 minutes remaining, but it's about to be move 40. And the good news for Black is his 40th move likely. Knight takes g5. He gets to make a move, steal a pawn, get the extra time, and continue to put Nodirbek Abdusattorov under pressure.
And Jordan's time management in this game, in particular in the last stretch, has been exquisite. I just have to commend him on the restraint that he has showed. He has left himself with exactly the amount of time you want to have to play the final move. 4 minutes. It's better than having 1 minute. It's just enough to make a well-informed decision if a curveball is thrown at you. The problem is that I don't see a single curveball that Nodirbek can throw. He can only defend one of these pawns at the same time. And Robert, to bring us back to a point that we made previously, what kills White's defensive chances in this game is just that knight on f6. It has no prospects. It is imprisoned, and moreover, it simply cannot contribute in the defensive effort in any appreciable way. To the contrary, it's actually blocking the f-file, stopping White from creating counterplay on the king side. There's c3. It's the only thing Nodirbek can do, and Jordan's going to play b takes c3. He has no choice, and that will be move 40.
And that's instructive because you can't allow White to take on b4 because it is a pawn trade. It's 1 for 1. That sounds good. But you give White the outermost passed pawn. Black, because you're going to have to focus your attention stopping a passed pawn. You do not want it to be an a pawn unless you're getting something for it. So he takes on c3. He'll take on g5. And I'm only noticing for the first time, Danya, that the players, Jorden in a white shirt with the black pieces, Nodirbek with a black